then, hello and welcome to the stream. I don't think anyone's in yet, but I'll say hi if you're watching on replay. Because I'm sad like that, and you're going to get used to it if you stick around. Right, so just sat in the lobby so far. Starting off with the first round of the PSUK Go Kart series today. So named because the reward of a day out go-karting is up for grabs. It's actually a spec series using the number 2 or number 5 Honda Civic WTCC car, which I'm currently not in because I'm not racing. So flicking through the liveries, we have Andy in a nice red number with the big old PSUK logo. Big ups to Andy, obviously host of this series and head of PSUK. One of my teammates, DDM drifted in a very, very snazzy livery, if I do say so myself, in the 666 car there. RBHM Smokey in a nice looking, almost Castrol-esque livery. It might even be a Castrol livery, I just can't see anywhere else around the car. SLS Knockhill, very quick these guys. Only ever seen them in PSUK events myself, but they did absolutely dominate the Le Mans charity race. Yeah, one to watch out for, probably, in the number 54 red, white and green car. PSUK Third Eye, in a nice monochrome sort of, well, monochrome, I don't mean monochrome, I mean grayscale. The nice grey and the white and text. Obviously PSUK native, that's PSUK Third Eye. Chungus up next, he won't be able to, well, you won't miss him, with that very bright yellow, with the ESAB livery there. Next up we have the Grumps, nice, gotta love a good bit of orange, again nice simple design. It's not the best view to seeing these liveries really, is it, but we'll do what we can. So yeah, that is Grumps. Next up, Zip Plant, a few more sponsors on this one, a little bit of yeah, I mean I'd love to talk more about the liveries, but I just can't quite see them well enough. But looks alright, Zip Plant there. Fergus, Mr. Fergs even. Nice plain grey, maybe failing to attract any sponsors for this one. Maybe a good performance will earn him some. Now that's more like it. Livery by Enter Stangman there for Teddy 1555 in the number 55. Number 5 Honda Civic WTCC with some very, very big rims. I haven't noticed that across all of the different cars there. Is it slightly... yeah, especially considering comparing to Mr. Fergs directly. There's some big ass heavy rims. Next up, Jim Supra, formerly known as Hydra, also known as a very fucking quick driver. Definitely one to be watching out for at the front of this series. The Irish lad there sporting the Halfords design, straight from the BTCC, or an imitation of. Next up we've got Leachy in the number 5. That looks... Is that just the base livery? Has it just not loaded for me? Who knows? This is Forza after all. That's Leachy 111. Next up, PSUK JP, another PSUK driver, in his sort of home series, if you will. Sporting a nice grey... Anything with orange in it and you've got me sold. That's the general rule of thumb. That does look quite nice there. Nice simplistic, bold colours, geometric shapes. I rate that. PSUK Forza sporting a matching livery to... I can't remember who it was, but the other one, livery painted by Enter Stangman. Very snazzy number there. Not, again, maybe not so much my personal taste, but I appreciate that it does look very good if you like that sort of thing. So props to Enter Stangman for a couple of decent liveries there. DDM Drive, my other teammate taking part in this series, in the number 6 Alpha Tauri, apparently. I didn't make him one, he didn't ask. I'm not offended at all. And finally in the lobby so far, penultimately in the lobby so far, we have CCX Rye and a very, very colourful Pepsi Max inspired design by the looks of things. I do love a bit of Pepsi Max, so Rye's won my vote. And his teammate Rallycap has just joined in the McLaren-looking livery from, obviously, Formula 1. So we've got a bit of a McLaren versus Alpha Tauri battle, perhaps, between him and DDM Drive. So, I'm not 100% sure what time the qualifying session is necessarily meant to start, but we will stick around and just try and find things to chat about until then. Mostly looking through liveries, because I'm nosy and I like to. We've got ETI Jello, as you can see, just joined the livery. Just joined the livery, just joined the lobby. And when that loads, there we go. Ooh, very pink. I feel like that's going to stand out well from some replay cameras. Him and, was it Chungus in the very bright yellow one? Those could be hard to miss. Where is Chungus? There, yes. Very, very bold yellow design there. So it looks like most people are readying up now, so we might be getting underway shortly. And... oh, what can I do with that? Meanwhile, I try and learn how to use a stream manager. Apparently I can see my chat. For probably the first time ever. Yeah, I've experimented with some YouTube videos before, but this is the first time I'm going unscripted. So, it's an absolute recipe for disaster. But I do appreciate the 4 of you, well, 3 of you watching at the moment. It would go down from 4 to 3, as I said that, wouldn't it? So, I'm assuming we're about to get underway for qualifying. I've sort of offered to stream this rather last minute, so not 100% familiar with the format of this series. I do assume, yeah, 5 laps, that's got to be a qualifying session, you would have thought. Apparently there's a reverse grid later. I'll tell you what, why don't I quickly go and look it up whilst I ramble on. Ramble on? Told you, unscripted, goes badly. Oh, brilliant. So Andy put in a nice summary on the Pitstop UK Discord server in the discussion thread for this Go Kart series. He put it's basically a 5-lap qualifying session. Then we have a race 1 and a race 2. And the race 2 has a reverse grid and includes a pit stop. The first race will be straight up from the qualifying order and will be lights to flag with no pit stop. Cheers, Drifting. Well, see, look at that. My chat's even telling me what to do. Oh. It's boring if you tell me what goes on. I've got to learn to find out these things for myself. Alright, so qualifying session underway now then. Once everything loads up, we'll see what we can play around with the informational graphics. We are currently watching RBHM Smokey lead them away from first on the grid. Random grid, I presume. Doesn't mean anything where you start in quali. And look at that. It might not mean anything where you start in quali, but Jim Supra up in second place already, trying to overtake Smokey as they're both ghosted, just driving through each other on this outlap. Right, I said I was going to play around with these, didn't I? Right, so let's have a look at the ticker. The ticker we basically want on lap times, because this is a qualifying session. That's the only real important thing there. Race info we can have on the map, which is just showing a map. We can have a player focus, so we can see maybe some gaps between them. That could be interesting to look at slightly later on. The race stats. Hey, Go Drive! Representing DDM with the highest top speed attained so far. Like, that is such an important stat on this outlap at a very technical circuit as well. I might just flick this back onto the player focus and get rid of... Can I get rid of the map? Can I not just have the player focus? No, apparently you have to have the map as well. So we'll have that up, because why not? And as they are still quickly on this outlap, there you go. That's all the information about the car. Oh, you can see their dashboards. Right, so let's go and ride on board with Smokey for this first lap. What was that? Have we had someone lag out there? I'm not quite so sure. So, riding on board with Smokey on his first attempt of a qualifying session. Hard on the brakes down into turn 1. Bit of a double apex corner. He's completely missed the first apex, but that can work well if you cut back exactly like he has done there and set up for a good exit using the curb on the right, drifting over to the left-hand side of the track to open up turn 4, I think that is. I'm not going to try and guess all the numbers from here on in. So another very fast right-hander. You can see just dab on the brakes, lifting up a little bit, trying not to run the car out too wide. Hasn't had the best run though. You can see Chungus on a much quicker lap going through him, but not as good on the brakes maybe. Although Smokey slightly off the apex. Oh, a bit of a moment for Chungus there, getting over the curbing on the exit. And a very quick left-hand kink, which is very easy to get wrong, as Smokey unfortunately demonstrates for us there. So if we maybe swap to someone still on a good lap. I've got no... not Kill, I mentioned him. I don't know much about the SLS guys, apart from the fact that they absolutely dominated the PSUK Le Mans charity event. So let's ride on board with him for a lap or so, see how he gets on in qualifying. Supra up ahead, it will be the first person to complete a flying lap, and we'll see where the first two are separated. Let's get rid of that dash. I feel like that's a lot of yeah, there's a lot of information you can have there, but it's not really that interesting. So, Not Hill across the line. Did he? He must have dirtied that lap. Still currently P7. So we can see that Hydra provisionally on pole position with a 129.1. We'll stay on board with Not Hill. I'm assuming he dirtied his lap, because the person ahead of him has a slower time than the person behind him. So Drive obviously not managing to get a clean lap in either. ETR Jello, it's hard to keep track at this stage because not everyone will have got a lap in just yet. Again, another thing that's maybe not that significant but worth pointing out is the sheer amount of clear air that Hydra and not Hydra, sorry, change the game tag, Supra and Not Hill have over the rest of the field. They've absolutely bolted. I know I mentioned that Supra started near the front of the grid. Obviously it's random and it doesn't necessarily matter in qualifying because you're just trying to find a bit of space to get one lap in, but that is quite an ominously large gap for just 3 laps of running. So last couple of corners now then. Trying to hit the apex on the right hand side. Don't cut it because you'll hit a tyre barrier. Using the full extent of the track, braking nice and hard and setting up for a good exit down the only real straight part of the track. That looked like it might have been dirty to me, just using too much of that inside curb. We'll see as he crosses the line. Does he set a better lap time? No, he doesn't. Stays 12th for the time being with a 129.5, but not a clean 129.5 by the looks of things. Other people are improving as they cross the line. Someone else to jump on board with, I don't know, let's randomly pick up... that's the wrong thing. Can you tell I haven't done this before? There we go. Who's this? Andy, host of the series and leader of PSUK, is currently sitting in 7th position. It's a shame it doesn't tell us what lap time they're on the left hand side for the driver tracker. In fact, that's almost so not helpful. Let's just get rid of that and... oh no, that's the wrong button again. I'll get there eventually. Oh, that's the one I do want on lap times. Wow, there we go. So we can watch Andy's lap in nice and full. Look, we can see that he's currently 7th on a 131.2. Very helpful timing from the rotating bar. But Big Chungus there in 14th currently, on a quicker lap than Andy at the moment maybe. Certainly gaining through this part of the lap. Although that's, again, it looks dirty to me going down the corkscrew, just using too much of the curbing and the basically going off the track. Oh, that's a big moment from Andy. Quite an impressive save. I have a feeling he won't be improving this time round. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and stay on board for the next lap, see if he can improve on that 31.2. Somebody's just improved from lower down. Was that Not Hill? Let's see if we can just have a quick flick through the lap times. Not that one. That's the one. Player focus. If we just... yes, player focus. And then do that. Right, okay, so we have Jim Supra is the leader. So Mr. Fergs is currently P2 on a 29.5. We can see that Supra has improved to a 29.0. DDM drifting up in 3rd place. Go on, son. On a 30.0. And I'll just flick through these. I'll go through them properly at the end of the session. Obviously, still time for people to improve. And it is Andy that we are watching to see if he can do just that on this particular lap. So currently sat in P8 now. Still sort of guessing it was Not Hill that improved. Oh no, he's still currently sat in 15th place. Yet to get a clean lap in. It looks like Not Hill and Chungus. And Chungus just ahead of Andy, so we're sort of watching both of them at the same time. The Only 2 drivers yet to get in a clean lap, and this is now the final lap, if you hadn't noticed already. This is lap 5 of 5. So the big questions I'm asking right now are, can Chungus, up ahead of us, get a clean lap in and move himself off of the back row? And can Andy improve on his current 8th place? It's looked like a pretty decent, pretty clean, pretty smooth lap so far. Obviously we don't have any sort of time or deltas or anything, so we won't know until he simply crosses the line. Taking a very different line to Chungus there, if I'm being kind. Almost looked like he just missed the corner. So Chungus is going to come across the line now and go P6, a couple of spots ahead of Andy. It doesn't look like Andy's improved. A lot of the PSUK guys together there, 7th, 8th and 10th at the very least. I can't see who's 9th because my Twitch bar's in the way. But SLS not kill, a guy I said keep an eye on because he's bloody quick, has finished qualifying in 16th place out of 18. To me, that's a surprise. It'll be very interesting to see if he can move forward, particularly in the race, and how far I expect him to be able to move forward. Oh, someone else has improved in their last lap because Andy's now in 11th as we see the ticker go across. So, if I just quickly back out to the lobby, can I do it that way? Yes, I'll exit and spectate, and then we'll have a look through the previous lap, or previous race thread. Can I see the result yet? I don't think they're going to be ordered correctly, but there we go. Okay then. So Jim Supra did not manage to get into the 28. He finished with a 29.0, which I am sort of assuming is provisional pole position. SLS Knockhill with a 29.2, just a tenth or so slower than Supra, but not managing to get a clean lap in. Definitely an upset there. He'll be starting from the back in the first race. Couple of 30.2s then, Chungus and Phil Drive. DDM Drive, even. My teammate. They'll be starting very close together on the grid, I bet. Not sure exactly what position yet, so we might have to work that out. DDM Drifting with a 29.8 will be ahead of them. Andy with his 31.4. Let's try and put some of these together. So we've got a 29.3 from Mr. Fergs. That is a very impressive lap time. And a 30.1 from CCX Rye, also very impressive. So I think it's going to be Supra on the front row with Mr. Fergs. DDM Drifting on P3 as the only 3 drivers to get into the 29s on a clean lap. Then P4 should be CCX Rye on a 30.1. Then I think we've got the 2 guys on 30.2, so DDM Drive and Big Chungus. So if I'm correct, which I think I am, we've got 2 DDM drivers in the top 5. So that makes me very happy. Yes, Andy. DDM Phil Drive, indeed. Drive Phil, drive. Is that the new Run Forest Run, or the DDM version of it? Oh no, please don't tell me I've started a thing. 2 drivers DNFing from the session, 30.5 in the end from PSUK Forza. Still a very respectable lap time. Teddy, unfortunately, not managing to get in a clean lap. And quite the field spread. We've got, what, 3 seconds? Actually, more than that. Nearly a 4-second spread over the whole field. ETR Gallo on a 32.7 is, I believe, the slowest clean lap we've had. It might have been that was his out lap. Oh, 3-second gap? Maybe not. I don't know. Hard to tell. Right, here we go then. As soon as the black screen is out the way, they'll probably already be underway, and we can try and watch the action unfold as we have 18 screaming Civics flying into turn 1. So riding on board, getting rid of the map. That's not the right thing. That's now Smokey. Okay, let's ride on board with Smokey. Let's get rid of the map. That's the one. We'll have the loop data. So SLS Not Kill is on our outside, as we do have an incident into turn 1, a couple of cars off, maybe a bit of Forza glue, just a bit of contact, and they're both sliding off. SLS Not Kill not making up any other positions apart from those. Oh, yes, he has. He started 16th, didn't he? So he's made up 3 positions so far, and scything through on Smokey. Smokey just running ever so slightly wide, and he's going straight up the inside on third eye as well. Wow, that is quite the start from Not Kill in that case. I hold my tongue saying it wasn't necessarily that impressive. Let's get on board with this man again. They're too wide in front of us. Forza and Grumps battling away. Not Kill getting involved immediately. Can he follow Forza through on the inside? No, backs out. Very sensible. Not really what place you want to go too wide, and that is exactly why. That is a fantastic bit of racing there from Not Kill. Just waiting for those two to go too wide through a place that they shouldn't. And already we're from 16th on the grid. They're up to P9 with JP up next. And I tell you what. Oh no, never mind. I was going to say that looks like a breakaway top half of the pack, but there's not that much of a big gap behind us. I thought there might have been, given how quickly Not Kill was managed to side past two drivers at the fast kink. Oh, big mistake from JP there, running wide at the final corner and gifting Not Kill another one. Now, I of course need to come and check in with my DDM guys, and what's going on there? DDM Drive up to P3. Effectively swapped positions with Drifting since the start, as they started 3rd and 5th, but the other way around. Rye was always in between them, but God, should have come and checked in earlier, lads. Sorry about that. But yeah, that was not the typical place you expect to see something. I wonder if there was maybe a little bit of contact between the two behind, as they were going down the pit straight. But the three of them are still rather close together. And is that a Not Kill I see in the background already? Right up behind Leachy. I'm still getting used to these controls, so bear with. Not Kill, yes, right up behind Leachy in P8 now. Last time we saw him, I believe he was P9, setting up Leachy through the fast left-hand kink that we identified. We're riding on board now because Forza says so. And they're too wide going into the corkscrew. Who's going to be the last on the brakes? Not Kill up the inside. That's another position. Less than 2 laps. And 9 places gained already. I tell you what, I think I was slightly right to decide to start on board with Not Kill. That's quite the drive. Hang on, what's going on up ahead? Oh no, they're still. I thought I saw a car in a position that I did not expect. Although there was a lot more tyre smoke there again. So let's jump back onto the onboard, see if we can see what's going on up in front. We've got Drifting ahead of Rye now, so there was a bit of smoke. Maybe that was done into the final corner. So we've got DDM's 3rd and 4th ahead of CCX Rye in 5th and Chungus in 6th. The top 2 are starting to check out at this point. Perhaps unsurprisingly, given the gap they had in qualifying time. And then we've got quite the battle pack from 3rd down to 7th with SLS Not Kill. Looks like this could be the most interesting place at the moment, as they seem to be slightly more spread out behind. I'll stick the map back on. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take it off loop date and I'll put it on time intervals so we can see. So yeah, Rally Cap only half a second behind Andy for 11th and 12th. Should we go and quickly check in with those? This seems to have settled down a little bit now, so that's the one. Let's have a look at CCX Rally Cap. That looks like a little bit more than half a second to me, but I don't know. I'm not a human calculator, or a stopwatch for that matter, and stopwatch is probably more appropriate than calculator. It's 0.7 of a second according to Forza at its latest interval, and these two perhaps a bit isolated already. Crikey, we have quite the field spread after the first 3 laps. So let's just jump back to where we were then, because I believe this... Yeah, look at that, 5 cars around one corner, and we've got Drifting slightly wide on the exit. Perhaps trying to... perhaps he was a little bit too close to his teammate in front of him there, but not disastrous by the looks of things at all. And yeah, a couple of corners later, it's still the status quo. What are the gaps here? So we've got half a second from 3rd to 4th, 4 tenths from 4th to 5th, 4 tenths from 6th to 7th, and 2 tenths from 6th to 7th. JP less than a second behind. They've got another battle pack behind us as well. I might check on that in a minute, but we've got Not Kill lining up Chungus up the inside, locking the brakes ever so slightly, taking that inside curb. You can get a decent run around the outside here, as Chungus is showing, and he's got more momentum as he runs up the hill. We've seen Not Kill be very quick round this kink compared to some other drivers though, taking a little bit more curbing, and Chungus has pushed too hard and tried to go off the track, and so has Not Kill. Oh, that looked very, very sketchy. Is he going to try and hit him on the brakes? Not literally hit him on the brakes, I mean, hit him as in get him. But no, not quite, and This battling is absolutely causing these two to drop off of the pack for 3rd, 4th and 5th, who themselves are slightly closer, and oh no! Chungus into the tyre barrier, not kill with absolutely no time to react. Is that damage? Where's the... Yes, I'm assuming that is damage because they're coming to pits. That is absolutely devastating for those two drivers. The only respite for them is that we do at least have a reverse grid for the second race. No thanks, I don't really fancy buying followers. I'm sure there is a way to block them, but is there an easy... How do I do that? Go away. Ban him. There we go. We're not in the business of buying followers. Right. Oh, while I was looking at that, Rye looking round the outside of my teammate. Drifting, having to put on a bit of a defence there. And we've got a black screen. Oh no, does that mean someone's lagged out? We have, yes, we have Dip Plant with the DNF in 16th. Didn't we start with 18? PSUK Third Eye. Also DNFing in 17th. That is very unfortunate. And I could have sworn we started with 18, so are we missing someone else as well? Again, while I ponder that, Rye was looking to try and overtake DDM Drifting into the corkscrew. Not the most sensible place, and not killed, gaining positions already despite, or gaining positions again despite having to go through the pits. Getting past Grumps, and Chungus is just there as well. Also, of course, having come through the pits for 12th place, putting the pressure on Grumps through the quick left-hand kink. And again, P12, have we had... I'm wondering if there might have been another incident, because we have still 15 runners. Just go through from bottom to top. We've got ETR Gallo, RBHM Smokey. See, these guys say that far back that I can only assume that we might have had a couple more pit stops, given that Chungus and Knockhill have had to go through the pits. And here we will be Grumps really catching Chungus through that section there. So, showing that he's got at least some pace. So I'd be surprised if he'd lost a pit stop already. So we can see the two cars ahead. So if we jump up to P10, see what's going on from there. We're on board with Rally Cap for P10. I mentioned earlier maybe in a bit of a battle with PSUK and EK. Slightly more spread out than when we last checked in on those two. So if we jump up to 8th to see JP. Potentially a little bit of a battle for 6th, 7th and 8th going on here. Forza just a little bit up the road, but we've got JP really quite close to the back of Leachy. Has he got a bit of a run up the hill? If he's feeling ambitious, we might see a dive here, folks, but I imagine that, yeah, not necessarily the most sensible thing to do. So, perhaps unsurprisingly, we didn't see the dive that I maybe would have gone for. Me? Go for a dive? No, never not. Never. Right, let's jump up to back up to people. Then I'll remember to try and keep an eye on those guys, because these three, not too far away, but we do have these three who are very, very close, and I've jumped one car. Actually, let's do it back into a replay camera and focus on the middle car and just see some lovely, beautiful exterior shots and how the suspension depresses and compresses as they go over that very fast kink on the hill. Is it technically turn 1? Not sure. It's sort of a kink on the pitch straight. So, DDM 3, DDM 4, CCX 5. Are we going to see some team orders in any of this? Not sure. I haven't got a clue if they've talked about it. I'm not involved in this series. I haven't heard any talks about that. Knowing both drivers, I know they'll both want that podium. But I don't think there's a team series either, so there's not even that sort of thing to worry about. But yeah, I'm starting to waffle again. Rice slightly dropping off the back of these two. No, not even slightly. The gap between Drive and Drifting is slightly smaller than the gap between Drifting and Rye, but yeah, he's definitely not falling off the back. I don't know what I was thinking about. I just saw that the gap was slightly bigger behind and in front and assumed he was dropping backwards, but no, he's very much on the pace of my two teammates. And I mean, if there's any sort of squabbling, he's in the perfect position to pounce. Thank you very much for the compliment, Fishdock. I'm glad you've enjoyed the stream so far. Have fun at work. Don't mind me if I don't join your sentiments in cheering on CCX over my teammates, though. As nothing like a little bit of bias to keep things interesting. And we've had another incident perhaps with PSUK Forza dropping down a couple of positions, and he's in the pits as well. Wonder if he picked up a bit of damage. As far as I know, there's no pit stop in this race. I did check that earlier on, so I can only assume that's for, as I mentioned, a little bit of damage. Do we have JP and Leachy any closer than before? Not quite sure. They're not exactly far apart, but I mean, there's only one battle I want to watch, and it's the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th with my two teammates and CCX Rye, because, I mean, A, they're my two teammates, but B, boy, they've been close all race. And we are now over after the half race distance. Look at that, 2/10 from drive to drifting, and then Rye is only 2/10 back as well. JP, Leachy, I'm sure you're having a great race, but sorry, we're going back to that other battle. It's for a podium. There's 3 cars in it, and I think Drifting was having a look at drive there as they came down the corkscrew. Certainly wasn't sat right behind him. He's pushing him around the left-hander as they start the 3rd sector. Go on, lads, putting on a great show. I'm out of breath. This is a brilliant race and a brilliant battle for the podium, and coming out of the final corner, I think Drifting's got an overlap. Is he going to be able to get past drive into turn 1? He's got the inside as they kink left over the crest, and he's going to have the inside again as they brake hard into turn 1. Drifting's through, but they make a little bit of contact mid-corner. Oh, that was dangerous, and Rye absolutely ready to pounce close right up to the back of drive, who's now sat in P4, dropping a wheel on the gravel. I don't want to be riding on board on the bumper of Drifting. I went for the replay camera so I can see what's happening from an external view, and I can't see anything. There we go. Where are we? Right, Drifting. A couple of corners later, he's got a couple of car lengths gap. Maybe just had that little bit of extra pace over drive. So let's jump back to Rye. Let's go back to an onboard shot. We've been in the replay camera for a while, and damn, that was close through the far kink. But the momentum rather hindered. Damn, best lap by Mr. Fergs with a 28.7. Wow, that is one hell of a lap. I don't know if Mr. Fergs has been known by a different tag before, but yeah, that guy has some pace apparently. Oh, drive, that was tight. We've already seen one car crash there. Please don't make it 2. And slightly missing the apex that Rye attacks a lot harder, but then Rye runs almost onto the gravel on the exit, so you can see very differing lines through that final corner. And it doesn't seem to make much difference down the straight. The gap stayed pretty even, as you'd expect with the standard concertina effect. And drive getting very close to another tyre barrier. I've hit that one in the past, that hurts. But yeah, after the switch of position, not really much spread. Maybe Drifting's gained a couple of car lengths, but these three all still very close. I'm just watching, looking up at the gaps now, seeing how close any other people are. I can't see who that is in 13th because my Twitch bar's in the way, but only 6/10 behind 12th. Might have to check in with them in a minute. We'll just see it flick through from the start once again. Oh, and Drifting, we've got Offa in the gravel, and JP just 3/10 behind Leachy now. I did say I wanted to keep a bit of an eye on these guys fighting over 6th and 7th. Was it always JP behind Leachy? I can't quite remember. Leachy's had a much better run up the hill towards the corkscrew. It's flying away there, but not hitting the apex on the left-hander, so JP's going to close back in as we go down the hill. It's Liam Ferguson or Mr. Fergs. Thank you for the info, Samurai. I'm getting a very distant, faraway bell ringing. I'm not sure if I've heard of him or not. He's clearly a very, very fast driver, so if I haven't heard of him, I absolutely should have. Because, yeah, very, very impressive. But that's not who we're focusing on at the moment. He seems to be set in P2, 2.5 seconds off the lead or thereabouts, and a nice big gap back to 3rd. But we're focusing on 6th and 7th between Leachy and PSUK JP. And they seem very closely matched. It's tantalising and horrifying when you're this second car, and you know the next position is right there. He's right in front of you. You can't even quite get close enough to show your nose on a corner or send one in from a deep braking zone. You just itching to get that tiny extra little bit of pace you can have a go, but you're just not quite there. You're not quick enough, at least in the right areas. And I did see that the gap between Rye and Drive was very, very small as the ticker went across. And we can see there Drive going defensive into the corkscrew, DDM drifting, checking out from these two slightly now in third place. If he can keep it clean to the end of the race, it doesn't look like these two, or at least it doesn't look like Drive has the pace to keep up with him whilst he's having to defend from CCX Rye. If Rye got through, maybe he would be able to start closing in. If Drive wasn't having to defend, maybe he'd start closing in. We just don't know. That's the beauty of racing. But what a battle these guys have had for third, fourth and fifth for most of this race. And yeah, great job by Drifting to get to the lead of the group and check out. Although he did start in third place, remember, so he must have had something go on to lose a couple of places at some point. And oh, that's tight with Rye on the brakes into turn one there, very nearly into the back of DDM Drive. Oh nice. I'm being told in the chat that One Last Samurai is a teammate of Mr. Fergs. Thanks for the info. What team are you guys on? Is it one of the typical big three-letter names that I might know, or am I just been living under a rock or something? It's quite fun this streaming lark. You get to learn stuff. I tell you what though, it did mean I took my eyes off the battle for just a little bit. A couple of corners. Not quite sure what happened, but they're still about the same distance apart. And oh, CCX Rye, hold on to it, mate. It's not a rallycross Civic. That one looks just a little bit different. And for the next couple of corners, Drive might have a little bit of breathing room. Obviously going to close up in the braking zones, but yeah, just that little bit extra gap means you maybe don't have to defend into some corners. But yeah, definitely going to be a battle. We keep checking in on, and oh, I thought that almost looked like a mistake. That was actually a really nice line right there, right around there by Rye. So a quick check in with JP again, who still seems to be about half a second behind Leachy. I think it was 4/10 as the clicker went past. I can see Chungus has moved up to 14th ahead of Smokey. Last time I saw those two on the ticker, they were the other way around. And Leachy's gone deep round the final corner, giving JP the opportunity he needs to take P6. And he's half a car, nearly a car length clear as they start lap 13. And I'm assuming he's got the inside. He can defend into turn one. And is he going to hold on to it? I think he is. Coming on the exit of turn 2, and there we go. That's PSUK JP up to P6 with Leachy now in P7, but he's going to want that position back. And there we go. Are they overlapping again already? Can't see because we don't like that camera. Oh, look at that. I went the wrong way, but that turned out to be exactly the one I wanted. You got Leachy really putting the pressure on, trying to get back into P6. Oh, going around the outside through the left-hander up the hill. Is he going to get that momentum that we talked about earlier in the race? You can get a much better exit and run up the hill, but you do not really want to be... There we go. You don't want to be too wide through the left-hand kink, and JP gives Leachy the position. What it given me. Backs out of it to avoid an incident, and Leachy is back through into P6. So I've now got my eyes back up on the time intervals and see if we can see anyone else that might be particularly close to one another. SLS not kill up in P10. Chungus has now been lapped, as has Smokey. So maybe we should go and check in on our race leader in a minute, but JP with a great run down out the corkscrew, going around the outside, round the penultimate corner. What a move! And to think I was about to go and look at somebody else. That's a great move. This is turning into a very good battle for P6. I almost don't want to change now. Quickly flick to Leachy. I always forget that you have to go through a black screen. But yeah, these guys having quite the fight. I'm going to fingers crossed they can settle down for a little bit, and we'll just jump on board with Supra just to marvel at the pace, really. You can see there ETR Gello in 13th. Gello, one or the other, has been lapped now. We've got Mr. Fergs in second, who I'm assuming is the other car in traffic. There we go. We've got Fergs and Chungus 13th and 14th, with Mr. Fergs going up to lap them and Chungus getting well and truly out of the way there. Is Gello going to do something similar? Oh, I thought he was giving him the apex there, but there's contact between the two. Is Gello going to hang it wide? He's definitely not giving the room as nicely as Chungus did. He's really making Mr. Ferg send it. And side by side as they go into the final corner. I think Jello hit the brakes a little bit early then to give Mr. Fergs the line, but yeah, that was possibly tighter than it needed to be. Check in with drifting quickly. Just cycling through these new cameras. So he's, yeah, nice and clear of the battle for third and fourth, which seems to still be going on. Sorry, fourth and fifth. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Drive just got that extra sort of car length that he needs. You should see him not defend into turn one there, so he can just it means he can just drive at that slightly quicker pace and not have to slow both of them down by defending into the heavier braking zones. But a good job from both of these guys still in fourth and fifth. So let's check back in on the battle for sixth. It is still JP ahead of Leachy, but again a similar sort of gap, maybe a little bit bigger than between Drive and Rye. But any little mistake from JP and he's going to have to be right on the defence again. And little mistakes from Leachy and he will be absolutely kicking himself. He got away with that one there, just dropping two wheels on the gravel round turn 3 or 4 or whatever that one is. I did say I wasn't going to guess at numbers again, but look at that, I was wrong. So we've got Rally Cap in P8, all on his own. I thought he was battling with Andy earlier, or he was behind Andy earlier. He's now ahead, and here's Andy. You can see Rally Cap up ahead of him. Not quite in the distance, but they're not exactly particularly close anymore. And we've got about the same sort of distance back to SLS Knockhill, who is on the last lap now. 3.6 seconds up to Andy. He's unlikely going to be gaining any more positions. I'd forgotten this was the last lap. So we've got PSUK Forza 11th, Grumps in P12, and it doesn't look like any of these positions are going to change from here to the end of the race. 13th we have Chunkus, who has overtaken Jello. I keep wanting to say Gallo, but it's not. It's Gello or Jello. I'm not sure how the G is pronounced, I'm afraid. These two, perhaps the closest of the bottom half of the grid, but we are going to go back to 5th and 4th briefly, because these are going to be the... Oh, they've already finished. Okay. They've already finished, and Drive got P4. Leachy and JP have just finished in the opposite order to I said their names in, with GP in 7th. So I can maybe catch on to people as they come across the line. I've missed Rally and Andy. Knockhill, is he going to come across the line? He's already finished the race. I haven't timed this very well at all. There we go. PSUK Forza has just finished. We've got Grumps in P12 coming across the line now. Again, in a little bit of a world of his own. Chungus in 13th is having to deal with the AI-controlled traffic from the cars that are a lap ahead. And we've got Gello, or again Jello, I do apologise for not knowing how to say that, in the same situation. Mr. Fergs is not controlling his own car at this point, remember. He's already finished, and it's the AI. And Gello not happy with the way that AI is driving. I would have absolutely just sent that on him there into the right-hander at the penultimate corner. Is Mr. Fergs going to stay ahead before the time we get to the line? And we've got Chungus up ahead having to deal with Supra's car as well. But there we go, around the outside of Mr. Fergs. And that will be Big Chungus in 13th, and I'm going to go with Gello in 14th. And finishing off was RBHM Smokey. Here we go. Last car across the line that managed to make it to the end. So, whew, that was quite the race. Well done to everyone in that. I will stick these race results on your screen there for you. And while we wait for the second one, I'm going to go and get a drink, because I really, really need one. I'll be back in a few minutes, guys.